Arrive in Las Vegas in 2020. Live from the CBS Sports Radio 1140 studios, it's Silver and Black Today. Join the conversation by calling 702-889-5978. And now, here's your host, Scott Gilbranson.
Welcome back, happy Sunday, everybody. And it is Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, including my wife, Ellie, who does so much for our family. And I'm sure most of you with mothers in your life know how extraordinary they are and what they do for all of us. So thank you to all of them for all you do. Happy Mother's Day as well. So good Sunday morning, Raider Nation. And most importantly, again, happy Mother's Day out there. You turned into Las Vegas's only All Raiders talk show, Silver and Black Today. I'm Scott Gilbranson, your host. And we're officially on summer hours. That's right. We'll be heard from 8 to 9 a.m. Pacific time Sundays until right after July 4th. And then we'll be back to our usual 2 hours. So hang with us there. But we're going to pack each a week show with 1 hour just to the gills, guys. It's going to be fast and furious, just like today. Before I tell you about our busy show, first let me bring in my co-host and my only co-host today because Chaz Osborne is on special assignment. You'll learn more about that later. Here is Mr. Kelly Kreiner. Kelly, how are you?
Is that what we call it now, special assignment?
Yeah, when he's when he's in jail?
Yeah. Well, I mean, technically he was assigned there.
Yeah, that's right. I
guess that's right. Yeah.
No, he's not really in jail, guys. Chaz will be back next week on the show here, but we appreciate you being here as well. Just a reminder, we're streaming today's show worldwide on the radio.com app, and you can watch us on our live simulcast on YouTube, Facebook, and also Twitter, and on whatchamacallit, Periscope. That's what it's called. There, I got it, Kelly. Okay, it's early. In addition, make sure you read the website that started it all, silverandblacktoday.com. Okay, we need to get to it today as we talk to you a lot about everything that happened this week, including we had the big celebrity swing event here, which we got a ton of interviews from, and we'll share that with you coming up here in just a moment as we get through all of those. But we're going to take you to L.A. to talk to Gilbert Manzano of the Orange County Register about the Chargers draft. We're doing our AFC West tour, if you will, to learn more about the Raiders' rivals and what they've done to either improve themselves or not. We'll get his take on that. And then we're going to go to Kansas City and talk to Jay Binkley of our sister station, our sister Entercom station, 610 Sports in Kansas City. He'll give us his lowdown on the Chiefs' 2019 draft haul. Not only that, he's going to give us the latest on the Tyreek Hill situation, which is ever interesting, so we'll find out from him. Then we have a ton of interviews today. Here's what you'll hear from a ton of Raider greats, alumni, big celebrity swing event, of course, held in Las Vegas this week. Stay tuned for interviews with the badass. Bill Romanowski talks with Chaz. He talks to the Raiders about the move to Vegas and more. Then fan favorite Lincoln Kennedy will be with us about the Raiders and even a little bit, Kelly, about his acting career. I don't know if you know he did a little bit of acting.
I did not know that.
Chaz did. I didn't know either. So Chaz bringing his game to the, or at least something we didn't know, to the game. So also Raiders legend and just a great guy, one of the best. George Atkinson is with us. And Raider Nation loves the big bruising back. Darren McFadden was there as well. And so we had a good conversation with him. We caught up with him. Las Vegas and former Raider Leo Gray, former Raider quarterback Jay Schroeder also talked with us. And David Stepanian, our engineer who's on the dials today, also talked to Marcel Reese. So we're going to bring you that as well. So just a ton of stuff going on throughout the show. And we'll chat about the Raiders rookie camp, give you some observations that, and as long as the latest transaction as well. There you have it, Raider Nation. You're up to date. Okay, Kelly, before we get into some of the sound here, anything stick out to you from rookie camp? Look, for those of us jonesing for football, okay, rookie camp is a big deal. Otherwise, it's just a way to see the guys in silver and black. But anything stick out for you?
Not really to me. When you look at rookie camp and stuff like that, my biggest thing is, don't let anybody get hurt.
Yeah.
It's like you want to get everybody out there. You want to knock some of the rust off. You just want to kind of get everybody in one place. Let the rookies and everybody know here, it's basically like orientation at college. You're just going through the motions. Here's how we do everything out here. Here's what's expected of you, and then you're just going out doing just general kind of football stuff. So as long as you go through there without any, you don't want anybody to get hurt. You don't want you don't want some stupid fight to break out. You basically just want everybody to meet each other and get along.
Yeah, no, that's true, and I think that we get to see some of those guys out there, but I think there's a lot of I'm seeing content about, hey, let's rank the rookies based on minicamp. Really, running some drills like it's not anything more than you saw at the combine, really.
And it's kind of funny because you'll see some teams put out like the Giants put out something about Daniel Jones dropping some dimes. And it was basically a bunch of passes to like the running backs and the fullbacks and everything.
Yeah.
And they just got murdered on that on social media. Man, it's just they know people want football. They're just trying to get everybody's just trying to get stuff out.
Trying to get clicks and get attention. I tend to shy away from it. I'd rather do nothing than do that, and maybe that hurts us a little bit. But hey, that's the way it goes. So here's what we're going to do now too. We want to get some of these interviews to you right away. One that I've gotten a lot of messages about over the last few days was Bill Romanowski. So what we're going to do now is Chaz had a chance to talk to Bill about the Raiders, about the charity event, and about the future. So let's go right now. Let's hear Bill Romanowski with Chaz Osborne.
Chaz Osborne, Silver and Black today. I'm here with Bill Romanowski. Bill, we're here at the Celebrity Charity Golf event at Top Golf at MGM Las Vegas. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
I'm doing fantastic. This is a great event. Great place, Top Golf. I mean, I'm not a big golfer, but I tell you what, this is one hell of a place.
Yeah, Vegas always rolls out the red carpet for great parties. Let's talk about you working with Antonio Brown a little bit. How's his progression? How do you see him fitting in, progressing?
You know, basically what I did is I introduced him to great people that I worked with when I played. I have one of the top Olympic track coaches on planet Earth, Dan Paff, and he sets up Antonio's training programs and his lifting programs. And then I've had some great therapists that have done body work for him, and nutritionists and for his macros, and I help dial in his supplements. So he's in good hands.
He seems excited. He seems raring to go. Now you talk about nutrition. How about Nutrition 53? Is he doing that with you?
Absolutely. I have a product called Lean One, which he takes, and a product Neuro One, which is for brain focus and energy, and a product Sleep One. And he takes those, and he's getting good benefits from them.
So I know you live in the Bay Area. Your thoughts about the Raiders moving to Las Vegas? It's sad to see the end of a legacy there, but hopefully a new one here.
I think it's fantastic. I think this is going to be one of the absolute best things ever for the Oakland Raiders, now going to be the Las Vegas Raiders. I've never been more excited, and here's what it really comes down to. The Raiders are going to be able to compete with the rest of the NFL monetarily for the first time in a long time.
Now, I know a lot of fans love seeing you in the movies, The Longest Yard, and so forth. Do you have anything in the works, anything you're up to?
You know what? I don't. I really kind of put that on pause. I run Nutrition 53 every day.
Yeah.
And it's a full-time job, and a lot of times it's an 8-day-a-week job. So I enjoy it. I love it. I like helping people.
It's your baby. So.
It's my baby, so I'm in a good place. And then I get to do work for pre and post game for the Raiders, so I have a lot of fun.
Yeah. So anything fun comes up, you can jump on it because you're flexible with your schedule. So do you get to Vegas a lot? What do you think? You're going to be coming out more with the Raiders coming?
I will definitely be coming a lot more with the Raiders, but it's a situation where there's always a lot of trade shows here, so I'm here quite a bit.
Oh, that's right. Well, Bill Romanowski, I appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us, and we'll see you here in the near future.
Thank you very much.
All right, there you have it. Bill Romanowski with our own Chaz Osborne. Kelly, Bill as a player, people love Bill because he's just so intense, and he's really into this nutrition stuff. It'll be interesting to see him working with Antonio Brown and how that all develops.
Yeah, that'll be kind of interesting. Have you ever read his biography?
I have not had a chance.
You have got to read.
We're going to have him on during the summer. He's already agreed to come on.
Just some of the stuff that he went through. There's some of the stuff that he did in his part of his training, and about how he was looking for any kind of supplement, just any kind of thing that could give him an edge and everything. I mean, some of the stuff that he did is just insane.
Well, and you have to, right? I mean, it's a lot of money. It's your career.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you get to that you're at that peak level of performance and you have that much talent and everything else around you, you need everything you can get.
Yeah, one other guy we want to give you this interview before we head to our first break. And one of Raider favorite, really, Darren McFadden was one of those guys people just loved, bruising back, really did well in his time with the Raiders. Yes, he left and went on. Some people want to disown him because he played for another team. I don't get that. But anyway, here is also Darren McFadden with Chaz. And we asked him a little bit about the same questions about Las Vegas and the team in the future. And here's Darren McFadden.
Chaz Osborne, Silver and Black today. I'm here with Darren McFadden, Raiders great. We're here at the charity swing golf event at the Top Golf here at the MGM Las Vegas. Darren, great to see you, man. What do you think about the Raiders putting on this golf event?
You know, anytime I can come out and hang around some Raiders, some ex-Raiders and Raider fans, it's always a great time, man. I done put on this golf event here and just having a lot of guys come out and get together. We just love seeing it.
And as far as Vegas goes, what do you think about the Raiders moving out here? I mean, so far they're doing great work in the community. What do you think it means for the Raiders to move to Vegas?
You know, I'm actually looking forward to the move, you know, to see them come out here and get a new stadium like a fresh start, you know, just to see all that is great. You know, the city of Oakland loved the Raiders, and they still going to continue to love the Raiders. But just see the Raiders to come out and get a new stadium, and it's like a fresh start for them. I'm really excited about it and looking forward to it.
Did you get to see any of the draft? And if you did, what did you think about the Raiders draft?
You know, I actually didn't watch it just as I seen it, but I seen some of the highlights and recaps of it. But, you know, I look forward to a lot of the draft picks they had. I think they did a great job in the draft, and, you know, I think those guys are going to do a heck of a job.
Feels like we're moving in the right direction, right?
Definitely so, and that's one thing I can say is continue to climb.
So I know you're a family man now. You've just been taking it easy down there in Texas, right? But maybe now with the Raiders moving to Vegas, we might be seeing you more?
Yeah, just like I say, just been taking it easy right now, just enjoying life and raising little kids, man. But, you know, like I said, I'm a Raider at heart, and I love being around former Raiders and being around the different guys. And so anytime I can come out here and hang out with some of these guys, man, I love it.
Darren McFadden, we love having you around here. It's great to see you. Enjoy the rest of your evening, okay?
Appreciate it.
All right, Chaz Osborne with Darren McFadden. He was great catching up with McFadden. Fun guy. I mean, all those guys at that event, Kelly, were fantastic. We're going to talk more about them in just a minute. Also, coming up, we're going to talk to Lincoln Kennedy, Jay Schroeder, Leo Gray, and the great George Atkinson. So don't go anywhere. After the break, Gilbert Manzano of the Orange County Register is going to give us the lowdown on the Chargers, the rival of the Raiders, the hated rival. We'll get a sense for how they did in the draft coming up. You're listening to the Silver and Black today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140. Don't go anywhere.
Sports Radio 1140.
This is Silver and Black Today, live on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140 in Las Vegas, the future home of the Raiders. And yes, we have new audio, or as they call it, imaging in the business. New intro, new music. We hope you like it. I'm getting used to it myself. But we're going to go out now on the phone line down to Orange County / Los Angeles. And we're going to bring in a good friend of ours, and that is Gilbert Manzano. He covers the Chargers for the Orange County Register. Of course, used to be here covering the Raiders at the Las Vegas Review-Journal as well as boxing. Gilbert, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. It's good to be back on your show, guys.
Yeah, and happy Mother's Day to your mom as well out there. We're making sure we do all we can to recognize the moms out there, including yours, who obviously did a very good job. But let's jump into the Chargers draft, Gilbert. So if you're a Raiders fan and you're kind of scouting out the competition out there, the Chargers, in your latest story, said, hey, they really did a good job strengthening the defense, and maybe they gambled a little bit on offense. Let's take a run through a little bit with some of their picks, and then we'll talk about your kind of assessment of them after we get through them. Of course, in the first round, they had the 28th pick overall. They made a good pick, I believe, and that is defensive tackle Jerry Tillery out of Notre Dame. He's got great size, athleticism. I think he's going to be able to take some pressure off Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram and kind of free them up a little bit. What's the assessment so far of him, and how was he received there in rookie camp?
Yeah, people are pretty excited about Jerry Tillery out of Notre Dame. He's a guy you could move all over the place. They really needed somebody in the middle of the defensive line and the interior because they let some guys go like Corey Allegiant and Phylon went to the Cardinals. Damon Square, a handful of guys, but it was kind of rotational guys. Now with Jerry Tillery, it seems like it's a guy with upside, a legit starter you got to worry about. But the thing about Jerry right now, you kind of gotta wait for him because he had a surgery on his shoulder in March. So for rookie minicamp, he had to watch. But he's a guy that people are really excited. But for now, you kind of gotta wait on until that shoulder is ready. But they keep saying he's gonna be ready in July. Hopefully for him, that's gonna be the timetable. But with them having such a big need at D tackle, they kind of seems like it's going to be a day one starter, but he has a shoulder thing, so you don't want to rush him at the same time also. But you gotta hold on Jerry. Still in May, but so far it seems like the Chargers kind of feel like they got the right pick right there.
Well, and Gilbert, you again, we're talking to Gilbert Manzano from the Orange County Register about the Chargers and their draft. In the second round with the 60th overall pick, a guy that I think a lot of Raider fans, Kelly, liked as well, which is Nasir Adderley, the free safety. Great ball skills. I mean, Gilbert, talk about him. I mean, complimenting a guy who I think they stole last year, and that was Derwin James. How they got to be really happy with that pick and what it's going to mean for their defensive backfield.
Yeah, like I said, they're excited about Jerry Tillery, but for Nasir Adderley, it kind of feels like that's their first-round pick because he's ready now. And a lot of people had him penciled in mock drafts as being a first-round pick for the Chargers because, like you said, they needed somebody next to Derwin James because they cut Jaleel Dye. And last year, they had two strong safeties. It didn't really work out, and when you had Derwin James on the board at number 17, I kept screaming for the Raiders to take him a year ago. You know, you had him two chances, but he fell to the Chargers at number 17. But they didn't really need a strong safety. They took him, it worked out, but they had to let go of Jaleel Dye. So that left an opening at free safety, and now they kind of drafted for need. But the thing about Nasir Adderley is that he feels a need, but he's also very talented. A lot of people are really high on him being like a center of the field guy, a guy who can make plays out there, a ball hawk, a guy who has a nose for the ball. That way, you let Derwin James kind of roam around, at the line of scrimmage. Go after the quarterback, you put him in the middle with the linebackers. Because Derwin James, he loves to tackle, he likes to move around, he likes to hit. So those two guys can really complement each other. But again, also with the excitement, we got to remember these guys are rookies. It's only a rookie minicamp. It's day one, and a lot of people already kind of penciling in also Nasir Adderley as the starter. but the Chargers are like, hey, hold on. We got some of the guys like Jalen Watkins and Rashawn Jenkins. They're not the big name guys, but they're still high on them. Or it could be kind of a thing like, hey, you don't want to give this guy you don't want to tell him, hey, you're the guy day one. And he's kind of like, okay, well, I'm here not to work, you know. So I think they try to keep a good balance, and I think for Nasir Adderley, I think he knows that people feel like he's a good pick, but he wants to work hard. He seems like a guy who wants. He's also a very confident guy. He's already saying him and Derwin James can be one of the top safety duos in the league. That's good to hear. But I think for Nasir, it sounds like he wants to put in the work also, and he wants to earn that starting job.
Hey, Gilbert, it's Kelly Kreiner here. We saw that the Chargers picked up Easton Stick, which makes me ask the question, when are they seriously going to look at finding the heir apparent to Phil Rivers?
Yeah, it's tough to say because I know it's a fifth-round pick. It wasn't a highly regarded quarterback prospect in Easton Stick. Yeah, he has a great name. Easton Stick's a great name. I'm surprised he's not playing baseball. But he's a guy who's very talented. I know he's not. People are kind of saying, oh, he's like maybe a gadget guy, a dual threat guy because he could run. I think in college he ran for 41 touchdowns. I know it's not the top level in college, but still there at the FCS with North Dakota State when you win 3 national titles, and you're doing something right there. But it's hard to tell if he's going to be the heir apparent to Phillip Rivers. Like we said, he's a fifth-round pick. Who knows? But it's kind of you got to start looking now. You know how these quarterbacks nowadays, they kind of go into the 40, 41, or maybe that's just Drew Brees and Tom Brady, and those guys are kind of a rare quarterbacks. But it seems like the Chargers have at least 2 to 3. I'm going to say for sure 2 years. It seems like Phillip Rivers wants to play at least for sure next year when they go to the new stadium in 2020. But I'm going to say 3 years, and that gives, if you get 3 years with Easton Stick, give him a look. If he's not, showing any signs of progression, maybe by year 2 you draft somebody else. So with a fifth-round pick, you could gamble with that. But it seems like with Easton Stick, you could do even things today. I know Phillip Rivers is a guy who wants to play all the time, but look what Drew Brees did with Taysom Hill. Sometimes that kind of drove me crazy when Hill came in and you threw out Drew Brees' rhythm. But sometimes it worked, and sometimes you created some plays like that. So it seems like the Chargers want to do that. But it's just so tough to tell if he's going to be the heir apparent. It's too early, but it seems like right now they're going to groom him and kind of see it, where he is in year 2.
Yeah, and again, we're talking to Gilbert Manzano from the Orange County Register. He covers the Chargers, division rival of the Raiders. Now, Gilbert, the one thing you said, right, your kind of assessment overall, and again, it's hard to assess, and we talk about this all the time, and those of us in the media, we like to write, and we have to fill content, so we write things all way, way early sometimes. But you said they really did a good job strengthening their D. I can't disagree with that. I think, obviously, Tillery and Adderley as your 2 top picks, add in Trey Dickens from Sioux Falls, who's a project, but nonetheless an interesting pick. And then you said gambling on offense, and Kelly talked about Easton Stick. Overall, though, do you think that the Chargers adequately address their needs with the Chiefs, really the class of the division right now? Have they done enough to maybe compete with them for the division crown?
Yeah, I think so, but that's also because the Chiefs kind of have had a pretty bad offseason. They've lost some guys, and the whole mess with Tyreek Hill, so that kind of helps in the Chargers' favors. But I think I know it's on paper and it's May, but on paper, on defense, they could probably have the most talent or maybe the best defense in the NFL for the Chargers. They had 2 holes. They filled them with Jerry Tillery and Nasir Adderley, and those are they seem like first-round guys. But, again, we don't know how they're going to do. But after that, you get Joey Bosa, Noah Ingram. You get Denzel Perriman back. You sign Thomas Davis at linebacker. You got the other guys that you really like in Uchenna Owusu and Kaiser White. Then the back end, you got Desmond King, one of the best slot corners, and we mentioned Derwin James and Casey Hayward. But sometimes you know how it is in football. If you can't protect the quarterback, the offensive line, and that falls apart, that usually kind of hurts a lot of teams. And it hurt the Chargers a year ago. They were rolling, and then they met the Ravens. I think it was like a Saturday night football game in Carson, and they couldn't protect Phillip Rivers against the Ravens. They lost that game, and that cost them the number 1 pick. They had to travel to Baltimore. They beat Baltimore. They adjusted really well. But then they had to go to play the Patriots, and you keep going on the road, and the Patriots kind of expose them in the trenches. And again, I don't think they did anything to fill that need on the offensive line. The offensive line, if they can't protect Rivers, it's not going to work. And I think that for a year ago, it seemed like it worked for about 3 months, but that was mostly because Melvin Gordon was so good at creating for himself. Phillip Rivers is so good at throwing the ball quickly, so the O-line didn't need to hold the pocket for too long. But I'm just kind of confused because I know the Chargers spent 3 picks in 2017 on O-linemen, and maybe we feel like year 3 could be the leap year for those guys, like Dan Feeney, Sam Tavia at right tackle. A lot of people, well, I guess the experts at Pro Football Focus kind of made him really down. The fans do not like Sam Tavia, but it seems like it's his job to lose again. And then Forrest Lamb, 2017 second-round pick, has not even stepped the field. He hasn't been on the field.
No.
He's been hurt. Well, but I think this year, because he might be healthy, he might do something this year. But, yeah, those 3 guys there have to do something and kind of prove Tom Lesko right for having faith in him.
That's right. Gilbert Manzano, Orange County Register, covers the Chargers, former Las Vegas Review-Journal. He's an alumni here from Las Vegas, as well as covering the Raiders. Hey, man, we'll have you on again towards the end of the summer as everybody gets into camp. We really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be on the show, guys.
Thanks, Gilbert.
Thanks, Gilbert. All right. So there you go, Kelly. What do you think? Chargers, I think defensively, wow.
Yeah. He brought up the biggest points. Rivers is getting a year older. He's not quite as spry as he used to be. If that offensive line doesn't protect him, that team's not going to go anywhere.
No, that's very true. And we'll see how much gas Phillip Rivers has. All right, we're going to step aside. When we come back, Jay Binkley from Kansas City will give us the rundown on the Chiefs. You're listening to Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio, 1140 AM.
CBS Sports Radio.
This is Jim Plunkett, and you're listening to the Silver and Black Today.
Welcome back to the Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140. And we go out on the Newsmaker line again as we continue our tour today of the AFC West and take a look at the Raiders competition and what they did in the draft. And now we bring in Jay Binkley from 610 Sports Radio in Kansas City, my former hometown. Bink at night, 6 to 9 p.m. weekdays, and then, of course, Bink Sunday, 10 to noon on Sundays. Jay, thanks for being with us here on the Silver and Black today.
Thanks, my friends.
All right, so here we go. Now, for the first question I got to ask before we get into the draft is, of course, the Tyreek Hill situation of interest. There's a lot of criticism coming towards the Chiefs because of what seems to be some damning evidence and information that came forward, of course, in the last few weeks around Hill and the claims of abuse. What's the latest there from Kansas City on Tyreek Hill and what the Chiefs are maybe thinking about doing with him?
Well, the latest is he's still a member of the team, and I do expect him to still be a member of the team. As a matter of fact, I expect him to play this year, barring whatever penalties Roger Goodell imposes on Tyreek Hill, whether that be 4 games, 8 games, not going to be sure. But I think the Chiefs are taking more of a wait-and-see approach with this. It's a little bit different from the Kareem Hunt situation because Kareem Hunt basically lied to the Chiefs that he didn't do anything, and yet the video comes out and then he's released that night. I'll never forget. I mean, that was a shock just to be released like that. I was getting ready to go to break and I see this email come across and I'm like, breaking news after the break. In this world they tell you about teases. Well, that was teed up on a tee for me because that was shocking news. It was like, put your seatbelts on, folks. We just cut the NFL's leading rusher last year. But you don't lie to the organization. I think Tyreek Hill's been upfront with them, to be honest with you. And I think that's the biggest thing. And I think the Chiefs know more than we knew. And with this rebuttal letter that Tyreek Hill, it's been a wave of emotions. When it first came out that they were, looking at this case of Tyreek Hill, and then people kind of turned on him a little bit saying, see, this is what you get when you draft Tyreek Hill. You knew what you were getting when you drafted him. And then the courthouse went out there with the DA, and he said that they're not charging anybody, saying a crime has been committed, but they can't commit. And so we don't know who it was. Was it Tyreek or was it the girlfriend, the one that recorded him secretly in Dubai at the airport? Well, he never admitted guilt. He never admitted guilt in that phone conversation, that taped phone conversation without his knowledge. And then his lawyers put out a rebuttal. And in that rebuttal, they have text messages back and forth between the two where Tyreek's like, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. I didn't hurt our son. And then she's saying, I did. And I blamed it on you. I'm paraphrasing. I don't have the exact quotes in front of me.
Sure.
And those were authenticated. I do know that the police were called to his house on 2 nights. And one of the nights, he wasn't even there. He was actually in a hotel watching on his cell phone camera, the surveillance camera in the house. Saw her passed out. So he called 911. The police show up. There was kind of a neglect of a child because she had passed out. And who knows why or where or what happened. I mean, she is pregnant. So who knows what happened. But he wasn't even, on that report. She was. So this is a true tale of he said, she said. And the Chiefs are being extremely careful, not to just judge somebody by public opinion.
Yeah.
And just making sure you have it right. And I think they're being very careful with Tyreek Hill because he has done the right things before, and how people discipline their kids. He's saying he didn't do it. And at this point, the Chiefs are going to take his word for it, not to mention they don't want to cut him openly and have somebody else grab him. Might as well go on the commissioner's exempt list, do more of your homework, and just make 100% sure you're doing the right thing. And I think that's what the Chiefs are doing.
Yeah, and that's the situation we live in today, obviously, with not only professional athletes, but with celebrities in general. I'll keep it to that because I think for regular folks, when things happen, it tends to go a little bit of a different way. But you're right. I always say, listen, you're innocent until proven guilty. Sometimes things can look really damning. The perception becomes reality for people, but we don't know exactly what happened. So the Chiefs are taking a lot of criticism for going this route. But that's the one thing that I clombed onto was the fact that, we know with Kareem Hunt that he lied to them. And then, of course, the tape came out and that forced their hand. And we know about the Hunt family and how they feel about honesty and the kind of environment and culture they have there in Kansas City. So that was not as much a surprise. I mean, it was a surprise the way it happened. But once you found out the facts of the case, you certainly understood why they took the action they did. So it's going to be interesting. And when we finally get some decisions on that and some clarity, we'll definitely get back with you. Okay, let's jump in now to the draft. So the Chiefs, going into this draft, didn't have a first rounder, of course, and they are completely have restructured and are reforming their defense, right? So what do? The first pick in their draft, with number 56 in the second round, they take a wide receiver, Mecole Hardman out of Georgia, a kid who had a limited route tree in college, but he is explosive. You can see the ability there. You can see the deep threat ability that he also has. Talk a little bit about him and why they went with him in the second round.
Well, his NFL.com profile, believe it or not, compared him to Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the comparison of him going into the combine. It's more like probably a Tyler Lockett, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. And you're right about the limited route tree, but I'll tell you this, in rookie minicamp, they're using him everywhere. And Andy Reid is using him, and he's talking about using him and the fact that they'll be able to use him. He is the guy that creates separation. I mean, he is that truly down-the-field threat. I would almost like him to Tyreek Hill in 2016. When Tyreek came in, West Alabama, he's a running back, wide receiver combo. He had to learn to be a wide receiver and really adapted and learned the route tree and learned how to be a good receiver. So Mecole Hardman, the Chiefs say they've had their eye on him for a long time, which means were they going to make this pick or not without the Tyreek Hill situation?
That was my next question.
I doubt that they are.
Yeah.
I doubt that they are. I honestly think the Chiefs go corner in that situation, or even tight end, because they desperately need a backup tight end. Looks like Benjamin Watson, who flirted with the Chiefs the last 2 years, looks like he's unfortunately ended up with the New England Patriots once again. But that was the position of need. But Hardman gives them that outside speed threat. This guy runs a 4.33. They laser timed him. The Chiefs did a 4.27. So he's got that burn ability. But again, and the Chiefs have to do something too. Tyreek Hill last year, the contract. Chris Conley's gone. Sammy Watkins got 2 more years. So it is a pick that the Chiefs do need because they need to be looking at the wide receiver position. I mean, heck, you're looking at 2 drafts now. And had they not made this pick, you're sitting there going, where are the weapons for Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, with that offense, you need to continue to surround him with talent, so it makes a lot of sense. Now, later, just a few picks later in the second round at number 63, a guy I really like and had my eye on throughout the process, the combine and into the draft, was Juan Thornhill, the safety out of Virginia. This guy, I mean, the Chiefs, they need help at the safety position. Of course, they have Tyrann Mathieu there. But if you look at this guy, yes, he's an athlete, but the production he had in college, you look at his last 2 years, 10 picks, 16 pass breakups, and all of the intel on him says that they believe he's going to be able to do that in the NFL. So I think Thornhill here is going to fill a great need, does he not?
Yeah, it's my favorite pick, actually, of what the Chiefs did. And a lot of people talking this could have been a first-round pick, and they're surprised he got out of the first round. But you're right. I mean, you look at the 13 interceptions over the last 3 years. Last year, he blossomed up to 98 tackles from that free safety position, 4.5 tackles for loss, to 6 interceptions. He's a ball hawk. 7 passes defended. He was picking off passes in rookie minicamp. He's a true free safety, a true center fielder. They kind of have that box safety in Tyrann Mathieu because the Honey Badgers play everywhere. Free safety, strong safety.
Right.
And the funny thing about it is Thornhill used to watch Honey Badger film to get ready for games.
Interesting.
That was one of the guys that he watched, and he ends up in that same secondary, even though Keenan Allen came out and he kind of laughed about the Chiefs secondary when he had his press conference recently with the Chargers, which I found interesting considering he has as many ACL tears against the Chiefs as he does touchdowns. And the Chiefs have beaten the Chargers 9 out of the last 10 times. So let's slow our roll here, Keenan Allen, as far as that's concerned. But I do feel the Chiefs kind of missed on corner. They went out and got Bashaud Breeland, who's a dime a dozen. A lot of people didn't want Breeland or he'd be on their team at this point. Kendall Fuller's a really good corner for the Chiefs. But I'm thinking the way the Chiefs have created this defensive line, and we can't look at this draft without thinking of Frank Clark. I mean, that's essentially the Chiefs' first-round pick.
Right.
That's who they used that number 1 on. He was the best pass rusher in this draft. I mean, there's not anybody that can have as many sacks this year is what Frank Clark is going to provide. And our defense, I thought our defense was soft, very soft, like Charmin the last couple of years. and no, I'm not kidding. Pat Mahomes, essentially, I like the Chiefs like Texas Tech, because when Mahomes was at Tech, they had the worst scoring defense in college football, 128th out of 128 teams. He had to score a touchdown every time he's on the field. You watch Chiefs this year, they scored 50 points and lost. They scored 40 points and lost. This was Texas Tech football in Kansas City.
No, absolutely, and I think you're right. I think that they had to bolster that defense, and of course, Raider fans are accustomed to bad defenses because they had one of the worst last year, as you guys know. One other pick I want to touch on, and then I'll let you give me kind of your sleeper pick out of these. In the third round, big kid Kalen Saunders out of Western Illinois, 324-pound defensive tackle. How did he look in rookie camp?
He looked good. But he played lower competition at Western Illinois, and I'm always cautious on FCS transitioning to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a difference in speed and strength. We all know that. You play Division I or you play FCS for a reason. But I will say this, out of all the guys that went to the Senior Bowl, I felt he showed up the most. I felt that Colin Saunders was the guy that showed up against good competition, drafted competition against the offensive line. We're talking about a guy that does backflips. He's going to be a rotational guy with the Kansas City Chiefs. But I think they have something. And again, this is all about rebuilding this defensive line. Now, keep in mind, the Chiefs had a defensive staff that was, in a way, soft, just like the way they played.
Yeah.
And they redid the whole thing. The only guy, Scott, that came back from the Kansas City Chiefs on defense was none other than Andy Reid's son. Got moved from defensive line to linebacker. Imagine that. He's the only one to survive. But here's the thing, though. Scott, here's the thing. They bring in Steve Spagnuolo, who had a year off, and he would go to NFL films. He watched to see what the Joneses are doing. He's an intense individual that's very good with the secondary. Not only that, they brought in Brendan Daly, the defensive line coach for the Patriots, who did a lot of things. And they brought in Matt House for linebacker coach, and Matt House was the defensive coordinator at Kentucky. Kentucky was the sixth best team in the nation in scoring defense last year. Matter of fact, they held Drew Lock and the Missouri Tigers to 1 first down in the second half.
It's pretty good.
When he was at Pittsburgh, he helped develop Aaron Donald. Now, keep in mind, this is just the linebacker coach from the Chiefs, the defensive coordinator in Kentucky. Kentucky didn't want to get rid of him. Matter of fact, looked like we were getting him, didn't. Andy Reid had to pick up a phone and call Kentucky and say, "What the hell are you doing?" And he pulled out the checkbook and paid the $1.5 million buyout. But this is an intense, nasty defensive staff. And we've seen this offensive staff get promoted. We see Doug Peterson go from offensive coordinator to Super Bowl champion coach. We see Matt Nagy, offensive coordinator, go take over the Bears. Then we have Eric Bieniemy that's soon to be a head coach. But nobody was taking anybody from this defense. I feel the Chiefs have 2 possible head coaches in the NFL on this defensive staff, and I think that makes the biggest difference from what they're doing, going out and getting Agba from Cleveland, who has 17 passes defended. Chris Jones is known for the batted balls, 15.5 sacks last year. Agba actually has 1 more batted ball than Chris Jones. So you're going to see a more intense Chiefs defense in stopping the run. You had the Honey Badger in that secondary, who gives you what Eric Berry should have given you, but Eric Berry basically wasn't on the field the last couple of years.
Right.
But they've made some nice moves. And keep your eyes on Patrick Peterson, Xavier Rhodes. The Chiefs are not done, in my opinion, trading for cornerback, and that's the one key piece that they're missing right now in this offense, besides backup tight end. They neglected that in the draft because they had to work on Mecole Hardman, in my opinion, and that's a position that they needed.
Well, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, the rivalry between the Raiders and the Chiefs is a very heated one, perhaps the most heated of all in the division. And it's going to be fun to watch both these teams progress. Obviously, the Chiefs had an amazing year last year. They bolster that defense. I still pick them to win the division, even though it's very early and we're not making picks. To me, it's even though the Chargers, I think, had a pretty good draft. We talked about that earlier in the show with Gilbert Manzano from the Orange County Register. But I like what the Chiefs did, and it'll be interesting as the Raiders get better and as they eventually move to Las Vegas here, how these teams match up against you guys. It's going to be a pretty, I think, a good division moving forward over the next couple years. Jay Binkley from 610 Sports Radio in Kansas City. Bink at night, every night, 6 to 9 p.m. weeknights, and on Sundays from 10 to noon. Jay, thanks again. We'll have you on real soon.
All right, my friend Scott, you take care, all right?
All right, you too, my friend. Jay Binkley from 610 Sports. We're going to step aside. When we come back, more here on Silver and Black today on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
The Dodgers take on the Nationals today at noon on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
The only way to take Silver and Black today with you is with a radio.com app. Download it today and search CBS Sports Radio 1140 in Las Vegas and listen to us anytime, anywhere.
All right, welcome back to a Fast and Furious show. Thanks to Jay Binkley in Kansas City 610 Sports Radio, as well as Gilbert Manzano, the Orange County Register. We're back. We are running out of time today, Kelly, with our summer hours, and it's too bad. But we are going to do a podcast this week. So what we didn't get to today, we will get to this week. So make sure you look at silverandblacktoday.com for that. I'll also on Twitter we'll do that. All right, Kelly, one more interview we want to play before we finalize the show for today. It is Lincoln Kennedy spent time with Chaz Osborne as well. Good conversation. Wanted to bring you that and let you know a little bit about how Lincoln thinks the Raiders are going right now and the organization's move to Las Vegas. Here's Lincoln Kennedy.
Lincoln, this is the Raiders golf charity event. What do you think so far? Raiders put on a good show.
Second annual Celebrity Swing. Here to help the charity CIS. Very impressive turnout. You know what? You know what's interesting about this? Would you have ever thought that someone just magnified a driving range, added a couple TVs, laced up the menu a little bit, it'd be a franchise?
Genius. Why don't we think of that?
Absolutely brilliant.
Why don't we think of that?
I mean, a glamorized driving range. This is what Topgolf is. And now they're popping up all over the country. It's one of the hottest trends because, as you know, golf is one of the hottest games out there. Everybody wants to learn it. Everybody wants to pick it up, young and old.
And it's a blast being here.
It's a blast being here.
And the Raiders charity event on top of it is just icing on the cake.
Absolutely. Because we come out here, I get to watch people. I get to laugh at some of my old teammates and former alumni swings. And more importantly, I get to rub elbows with a lot of people in the community as we prepare for the stadium to be finalized and the Raiders to move here.
Yep, that's my next question. You just ease right into it. The Raiders coming to Las Vegas, doing the work and all this charity work in the community. What does that mean?
You know, the Raiders have always taken pride in being involved in the community, no matter what community it was. When they were in L.A., I was involved with them in L.A. They did stuff in the community. Same thing with Oakland, same thing with here. So there's really no shortage of charities to be a part of or to be active with. And I like the fact the Raiders are taking the initiative. Rather than waiting to after the team gets here, doing something early. I think it's really important.
Yeah. I've actually seen Mark at the WNBA, the women's games.
Yes.
He's already active in the community. He's out doing things. It's just incredible.
Want to make this a home. Want to make this a home for the Raiders, and it's going to be a good home.
Yeah,
the stadium looks beautiful. The people have been warm and welcoming. Raider Nation is going to show up. It's going to be good.
Yeah, I feel like there's already a Raider fan base here. Yeah, presence here. Certainly. So I think a lot of people know you for your work on Fox Sports doing the Pac-12 college football. So your thoughts on the Raiders draft?
Well, you know, I'm also the color commentator with Brent Musburger on the Raiders radio network. So I'm very impressed with the draft, but I'm also real practical. I'm one of these guys that I don't put too much credence or emphasis into rookies until you show me something. So right now the Raiders, like any other team, look like paper champions. You got to find a way to put it all together.
I saw your interview with Cleveland Farrell.
Yeah.
I mean, well-spoken.
Yeah.
Doesn't he just seem like you? Now everybody can see why they picked him, right?
The leadership qualities and leadership characteristics are really what set him apart. The fact that not only the fact that he can play, but the fact that the young man has a great presence about him, which is going to blend to the locker room just great.
I know. It's unbelievable. Okay, so lastly, I'm going to put you on the spot. I know you're a big basketball fan.
Yes.
Who's your pick to win it all this year? Is it going to be Golden State again, or can we maybe see?
Golden State's going to have their issues with Houston right now, if you think about it.
Yeah.
They allowed them to come back and tie that series. I don't necessarily know who's going to win it, but I will tell you, I honestly think who's going to be in it is going to be Toronto and Golden State.
Yeah. Okay.
Should be a good series.
I'm good with that. Now, last thing, I just saw you on an old episode of what was it, 2.5 Men?
2.5 Men, yeah.
That was hilarious. You have anything in the works? Any other acting gigs?
Because I found out that most of the actors in Hollywood are even shorter than you, so it does me no good to go there and tower over everybody. It's really hard to put us all in the same screenshot. So my days of Hollywood are being over. I'm sticking with the broadcasting game.
Lincoln Kennedy, you do a great job. I appreciate you.
Pleasure.
Enjoy.
It's mine. Thank you very much.
All right, you got to love a Lincoln calling Chaz short. And he's not that short either. Chaz taller than both of us, but it was interesting, was it not, to hear him take Chaz out like that?
The subtle shade was great. But as soon as he said that, I was like, man, it's a good thing I wasn't there interviewing him. You wouldn't have been, it's one thing to talk down to somebody. It's another when you are literally have to talk down to somebody because you're so much smaller than him.
Well, Lincoln is a big man, but man, is he sharp. I mean, so great to be able to talk to him as well. We talked to a bunch of other guys that we're not going to be able to get to today due to the time restriction, but listen to the podcast this week. We will have a podcast where we will have interviews with George Atkinson, with Jay Schroeder, and Leo Gray that we couldn't get to today, Kelly. Man, it went by fast. Any impressions for you, though, real quick, coming out of rookie camp? Anything surprise? I'm going to make one prediction, and I want to make this one prediction. I want to make sure everybody catalogs it, okay? Because I'm going to go on record right now to say Josh Jacobs will win the Offensive Rookie of the Year in the AFC.
And that's not in my opinion, that's not a huge, bold statement that you're really throwing yourself out there. I mean, it is a decent pick.
Yeah.
But I mean, you draft a running back in the first round, he should be your bell cow. He's going to have every opportunity to do it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. And Kelly, thanks for getting up. I know it wasn't you didn't have a lot of work to do today, so we appreciate you getting up, man. But we're going to be back next week with another full show and a podcast. So listen. This week, Kelly and I will be doing a podcast. Thanks for listening to Silver and Black Today here on CBS Sports Radio 1140. Check us out, silverandblacktoday.com.
A union we can count on. A union with a legacy known for hard work and getting things done. We're the ones who built this city with pride. Our members are our family, and their well-being is our #1 priority. Laborers Union Local 872. Vegas strong.